Morning, everyone, and welcome. Let's start our class with a prayer together. Heavenly Father, Divine Mother, friend, beloved God, great masters, Jesus Christ, Babaji Krishna, Layadi Mahashaya, Swami Shri Yukteswarji, beloved Master Paramhansa Yogananda ji, saints of all religions, we bow at thy feet. And we ask thy blessings on our lives as we seek to commune with thee and we seek to unite ourselves completely with thee. We are thine. Bless us and receive us. Om Shanti, Shanti. We'll start now with a song, and then also an excerpt from a video of Swamiji on this topic of silence. Welcome again, everybody.
Listen, listen, whispering within your soul, hints of laughter, hints of joy, sweet songs of sadness, of quenchless yearning for the light, for my love, your true home. Long your heart has played the dance, long you've toyed with merest shadows of the treasures left behind you, deep in your soul. Long you plumbed the dark for answers, long you've begged from beggars' empty hands, gifts of life they too were seeking, gifts none could share. Friend, how long will you wander? Friend, as long as you seek your home in a land where all are strangers, love locks her door. Leave to the weak his craven life, to the coward leave his dreaming. Oh, my saint, wake up, reclaim the light, seek the truth behind all seeming. Leave to the weak his craven life, to the coward leave his dreaming. Oh, my saint, wake up, reclaim the light, seek the truth behind all seeming. Turn, turn, turn within, in silence of soul, in cave of love, find my abode. Listen, listen, whispering within your soul, hints of laughter, hints of joy, sweet songs of sadness, of quenchless yearning for the light, for my love, your true home.
I used to meet in India people who would say, well, when all this is over and I've raised my children, I've finished my business, I retire, then I'll go to the Himalayas and I'll just be alone with God. But I was sure that they would never do that, because if you don't bring your Himalayas to where you are, you will never go to the Himalayas. You know that story of Muhammad, no doubt apocryphal, where he's said to have said, if the mountain won't come to Muhammad, Muhammad will go to the mountain. Well, there's a lot of truth to that too, that we've got to go to the mountain now, live in that mountain, live in that peace, and then when those moments come that we can enjoy them really, then our spirits can soar. People will go to the beach carrying their blockbuster radios with them. They'll go to the forest and sit by the side of a lake and have this new music surrounding them, so they can't hear the whisper of the wind in the pine needles. They can't hear the soft lapping of the water on the beach. They can't hear the call of the birds and the singing of the crickets. They're so busy with themselves. It's not just this noise from the radios, it's the noise they're putting out that makes them want something compatible to have around them, because that's what they are. You know, if you could really learn silence, if you could reach that level of deep peace within, you would find that your health would improve, your outlook on life would improve, everything about you would improve. So much depends on learning to dive a little bit into the inner silence. Now, this may sound like a beautiful poetic statement, lovely to read in a book on mysticism, and you put the book down with a sigh and go off and cook your bacon and eggs for breakfast. But in fact, it's medically sound to say that in relaxation, your body can heal itself much more than if you're tense. Because that tension creates blocks in the energy.
Good morning again, everyone. I like to start with a reading from The New Path by Swami Kriyanandaji. This was Swamiji's first visit, to 29 Palms with Master Paramhansa Yoganandaji. My first visit to 29 Palms was for a weekend. We visited Master at his place. My first recollection of him on that occasion isn't so much of what he said as of what he didn't say. I didn't know at the time, but he placed great importance on silence. Disciples working around him were permitted to speak only when necessary. Silence, he said, is the altar of spirit. Master was seated out of doors by the garage. Bernard and I were standing nearby. Master asked Bernard to go into the house and fetch something. Suddenly, for the first time since my acceptance as a disciple, I found myself alone with my guru. It seemed an opportunity not to be missed, a chance to learn something, anything. Master evidently didn't see it in the same light. He made no move to speak. Finally, I decided I'd better break the ice. Sir, I inquired, what does Om sound like? Master gave a prolonged He then reverted comfortably to silence. To me, at last, his silence was anything but comfortable. How does one hear it? I persisted. I persisted, though I already knew the technique. This time, Master didn't even bother to answer, but simply assumed the prescribed position. After holding it briefly, he returned his hand silently to his lap. Some months later, I told him I was having trouble calming my breath in meditation. That, he replied, is because you used to talk a lot. The influence has carried over. Well, he added consolingly, you were happy in that. Silence is the altar of spirit. As I grew into my new way of life, I began to value this maxim. This is a great example and a wonderful story of the new devotee, like many of you may be new. I remember when I first went to Ananda and people walked around in silence. There were silence days, there were silent seclusion days. There were silent weeks for seclusion. There was silence at breakfast at times. In fact, all the time there was silence at breakfast in a group. There was silence at dinner many of the times, most of the time, as I remember. People had times when they were in silence, they wore an in silence badge, and no one talked to them, and they didn't talk to anybody. Swamiji was in silence. Many times I saw him. If he had outward activities, things to do, he sometimes would be in silence. And this is something that is a part of our path, it's a part of our teachings, it's a part of our spiritual evolution. If we could be in silence, many of the masters, many, if not all, had times of silence, being in Mon. I remember my mother told me that when I was a little girl that I would always just be sitting alone quietly. I didn't want to be disturbed. And I think that's from past lives. We come in this lifetime and it's a busy life around us, but inwardly we remember the silence. And I was thinking of when I first started doing yoga postures. After I did the postures, it was so still. I just didn't want to talk. I didn't want to see anybody. I didn't want anybody talking to me. Same with chanting. After chanting, I just wanted to sit and meditate and not talk and not have anybody talking to me. And the same thing with meditation. After you get up from meditation, and now we're coming into the 8-hour Christmas meditation, you don't want to talk. You don't want anybody talking to you. Silence is a part of our soul's being, our soul's nature. But we're in such a situation where there's talking all around, we've forgotten it. But we have to remember it's a part of the spiritual practices, having times when we don't talk. We can be around other people, even not at your job, of course, but you can be in a spiritual setting and just not be talking to people. So why is silence so important? Well, look at our life. Our life is so busy with other people, busy at our job, busy with the kids, busy with the relatives, people all around, 1.4 billion people here in India, crowding on the trains, crowding on the plane, crowding in the airport, crowding on the street. Everywhere you go, there's crowds of people talking. We need a break from that. And also, in addition to that, the cars, all the cars and the honking. I remember some of my friends were asking, well, why do people honk all the time here? And I said, if you listen carefully, it's typically our car that's honking too, because everybody's honking. They want to get ahead. So the car noise, the dogs barking. Near where I live in Delhi, there's 4 dogs living next door, and they bark all the time. And there's sirens and construction going on, and the banging, hanging, all kinds of noise going on. Loud music. I remember I went into a restaurant, a cafe. I was meeting with one of the Ananda department coordinators. We were trying to talk, having a meeting, and the music was turned up so loud, we couldn't even hardly hear each other. I went over to the manager and I said, do you mind? The music is so loud. Can you turn the music down? And he looked at me and he says, what? And I said, you can't even hear me. And I'm standing right next to you. Turn it down. But people turn the music in the restaurants, it's louder and louder and louder and louder. And everywhere you go, there's noise. You have to have a break. You can't just live in that. The only break most people get is when they're asleep. When they're asleep, they're dreaming, and there's noise in the dream probably. But the point is, and don't even start talking about the phone. People are on the phone all the time, or social media, TV, music going on, which is not Ananda music, all kinds of loud sounds all around all the time. It's not natural, it's not healthy, it's not good for us. But we've learned that this is how we need to live, and so we're living that way. But there's a break for the yogi. Thank God we have a spiritual path, because otherwise it's overstimulation of the senses. It's harmful. It's harmful to every part of our life. It's harmful to our performance. It's harmful to our health. It's harmful to our relationships. It's just not good for us. So we have to think about it. You can't put it in a closet and hope one day I'll be in silence. Maybe that'll be the ultimate silence when you don't wake up again. But we have a chance now on the spiritual path to adopt this wonderful practice, to be able to, what are we doing? We're going within. We're shutting down the talking, that sense of wanting to hear other people and talk, and going inside. We're going away from the outward stimulations, but we're calming the heart. We're calming the breath through not talking so much. We're calming the emotions from not getting agitated. We're calming the reactive process from not getting involved with people. And we're going inside and feeling the deeper part of our being. And what do we do when we go inside? We inwardly, once you can calm down and quiet yourself, there's so much more inside of yourself. They're inner sounds that are wonderful, that you never tire of. You can tire of the same beautiful piece of music listening outwardly. You just tired of it. You get tired of watching movies. You're tired of getting on social media. But once you go inside and you listen to the sounds of the chakras, you listen to the sound of Om, you never tire of that. That's the natural sound of our being, natural sound of nature. It's all around us and it's within us. And what else happens when you go into the silence? You can see, sometimes at least, an inner light that's within you. Master said the reason people typically don't see anything and hear anything because they're so engaged outwardly. But if you can just at different times shut down the outer stimulation and go inside, there are wonderful sounds, wonderful light, wonderful uplifting, blissful feelings in the spine and the chakras, a deep feeling of contact with God. And so we're not going into a void where nothing is going on. There's so much more going on inside if we can cut out what's happening outside of us. So what does silence do? First of all, physically, it calms the body. It calms the breath. It de-stresses us. It takes away the tension. It calms the heart. It calms the emotions. And it gives you a sense of upliftment, a more clarity, more concentration, more insights, ideas, more attunement can come, contact, a deeper intuition can come to you, because intuition is listening to the voice of God, listening to the voice of your soul. We listen to the voice of our guru. But if you're always talking all the time, you don't hear anything but your own ego, your own emotions, your own desires, your own whatever you want to do. But as you begin to understand the importance and you begin to practice the presence of God in silence, you'll have a higher level of consciousness, more awareness, more perception, more bliss, more joy. You can reach a higher level in meditation, super consciousness. But as long as you're talking, you're going to miss a whole lot of who and what you are. So how can we do it? Let's think about this. First, try something simple. When I grew up and lived in Los Angeles, a busy, big city, the only silence at that time, now this was before Ananda, was to get out of the city and get to the ocean, get to the Pacific Ocean, get to the beach, get out of the noise. And so one thing you can try is just go out away from people. Sometimes at least go up into the mountains, go into a cave if you can, if in the mountains, but at least go in a park alone, not with the whole family, everybody talking. Go alone, go into a forest, go by the seaside, go somewhere. There's a walking park path right where I am here in Pune. I go there every day. I will go by myself typically. I just go and be alone. So this is an easy one for people to do. Just get somewhere, a park, a forest, the beach, wherever. And people tell me when they come back from the vacation, and they might be going to go or somewhere up in the hills, but they come back, they say, now I need a vacation after the vacation, because they've been talking the whole time. But when you're out alone, get up earlier or stay up late and just have some time by yourself and just don't talk. Inwardly, you can commune with God. So that's one. Another is to at home in the mornings when you get up, and try to go to bed a little earlier. You can get up a little earlier before the noise, before the noisy vibration, if not even the talking. The vibration early in the morning is so still, much more still than when everybody's up, not just in your house, but in the house next door, the house downstairs, the house upstairs, on the road, the cars are going, and you're sitting there trying to be silent. It just doesn't really work that well. But you can have earplugs, you can have a headphone if you get up late, but try to get up earlier. And at that time, be alone. You may take a walk if you can, but that time is a wonderful time. Do your yoga postures, maybe energize, do yoga postures, maybe read something of our books. Maybe have a time when you, I've said energize and do yoga, but then afterwards, go into your meditation and have that time of quiet and extend it more and more as you can. Maybe more yoga postures. If you're really a talkative type, maybe do more yoga postures. Maybe do more chanting. Chanting isn't included in the talking part. You're talking to God during chanting. Maybe chant more. But get all the emotions, whatever, the tension, the stress, get it out. Not through talking, get it out through energization, get it out through yoga, get it out through chanting. And then sit and meditate and just be quiet in the meditation. This is another thing. People meditate in their mind, then they're looking at the phone and they're looking at the clock, and really prepare yourself to be able to go inside. Now, I said we're coming on to the 8-hour meditation. That's the best day of the whole year in my book. It's just blissful. You go deeper and deeper and deeper in the silence, deeper and deeper over those 8 hours. And so try in your meditation to prepare yourself for that, but go deeper and deeper, not more and more shallow. Afterwards, keep the silence. After you meditate, keep the silence. Read something from Master Swamiji. If you want to listen to one song or something or chant, to just keep in that silent mode. And then maybe take a walk with God. Just commune and talk to Master in your mind, or commune with nature, God and nature, Divine Mother. Try to feel her presence. But what am I saying? Don't just go in with people. Go and just go outside. Be by yourself for a little while. And then afterwards, if you can possibly do it, have your breakfast in silence. I know this is hard for people here, but try some of these things. Don't just say it's not going to work. Try it and see if it does work. And then finally, once a week, have a longer time of silence. What does that mean? From maybe half a day, one day a week. Maybe I used to do from the time I got up in the morning, 6 o'clock or whatever time it was. This was way back decades ago, till noon. I would just be in silence and I would study the books, do more yoga postures. Books meaning our books. Energize, do more yoga postures. I'd learn the chants. I chant. I study Raja Yoga. Then I would go into meditation. Then I'd meditate as long as I could. Then I couldn't meditate more. I would do more yoga. I would chant. I would go back into meditate. This is what I mean. Take some time and really cultivate silence. I learned to love it. I think you might as well. But I learned to really feel this is when I can contact God. when I'm silent, not when I'm talking all the time. At that time, do more Om technique really gets you more in the silence. Do more Kriyas, that really takes you inside. And you'll find that it's very quiet when you can do those practices even more. Then you might write in your journal. Spend that kind of time once a week. Try it. If you can't do half a day, then do 3 hours, do 4 hours, do something. But try to integrate silence into your spiritual life. And I think you will find that you're progressing more quickly. I remember once at many years in silence, long weeks. Some people go into silence for a month at Ananda. Some people 3 weeks, 2 weeks. I've had 1 week seclusions, all in silence for decades. Nobody around, no talking. I really feel that really pushed me ahead spiritually. All I could see around me were the deer or the birds talk a lot, by the way, but you don't have to talk to them. But anyway, I just found that just quiets your soul. So spend that time, and I think you will learn to really enjoy it. Do what you can and build on that. You don't have to do everything, but just try, integrate a little bit. I was remembering this silent retreat. I've told this before, but it's worth repeating. And here in Pune, actually, it was at the retreat. And there was a group of ladies. It was a ladies' silent retreat. That was no silence at all. I tell you that. We kept telling them, my friend Roma and I, we kept telling them, now it's time for silence. And then people would just whisper the whole time. And that is not silence. Silence is really not talking and not being outward, but being inward. And if you need to talk, talk inwardly only with God. And you will find that He talks back to you. That's the only person you need to hear from when you're in silence. I want to end with this beautiful prayer from Whispers from Master. It's entitled, Make Me Silent, that I may eloquently converse with thee. I wandered through forests of incessant searchings and arrived at the mystery door of thy presence. On the doors of silence, I knocked loudly. There on the altar of glorious visions, I beheld thee resting. In my little chamber of quietness, I am always resting. I never speak, but with the voice of my silence. Through my silence, eloquently converse with me. God bless you all. I'll ask Nitendra to join me on screen now.
Thank you so much, Dhyanaji, for all the suggestions. One more question, a few questions. The first one, Dhyanaji, is that I'm always surrounded by people and it is hard for me to get my own silent time. So is there a way that I can change my situation or can I do something in even that kind of an environment?
You must get a vacation time at some point. Choose your vacation wisely. And if you go with the family, which typically you do, you must have some time by yourself. I mean, if that doesn't work for daily purposes, I would get up earlier. I don't know why people don't try that, but I know you do, Nitendra, but getting up earlier, I'm sold completely on it. Go to bed earlier, eat earlier, go to bed earlier, and get up earlier. And then it's so quiet. It just heals you. I think a lot of people get ill because of stress. Stress, tension, too many people, too much talking. We need time to recuperate, rejuvenate, recharge. And that time when you're alone really helps you to do that. So try getting up earlier, and then when you're on your vacation, your day off or whatever, get out. At least go for a walk. You can go for a 2-hour walk. Go for a bike ride, whatever, but you have to figure it out. But how do we exist in the times that we live in when there's constant noise? You have to figure that one out, but I have, and otherwise I couldn't function. There's just too much noise around. So figure it out for yourself and start with something. Don't say, well, I'll never be in silence. Well, life is short. That's what I'll say. You want to make spiritual progress, you need some time with God alone.
Thank you, Dhanaji. The next one, Dhanaji, is that I feel a lot of peace and even silence, perhaps, when I'm at the center or when I'm meditating. But slowly during the day, it vanishes. So, how can I keep my power and energy levels high throughout the day?
Meditate at night. Meditate morning and night. I know a lot of people skip that second time, but it's harder to go deep in the next morning if you haven't meditated at that night. So you're building a base. And even when you're outward, there's still a part of you that's centered if you have a base of silence and peace, in inner joy. Those, you build those as you meditate, as you practice the techniques, and silence is one of our practices, really. You heard that beautiful poem of Master. And so you'll get better and better at it as you practice more silence and as you meditate more. But it doesn't come easily. There's a price to pay. The price is being quiet. And as you are more, you find that, yeah, you're out there, but you're never completely out of your center. Let me put it that way. And somebody who's falling apart, anything that happens, they're falling apart. Anything that's good, they're jumping up and down. Anything that's bad, they're going up, down, up. They're wearing themselves out. And so you need a base and a strong base to live in the times we are. And that's why Master came. Let's face it. He brought these techniques for these times. It's not by chance. And it's not by chance we're living in these times that we are. We chose to come to work out karma, but work it out with the practices that Master gave. No, it's much easier. Otherwise, it's going to be tough. You're going to have a tough life. Yeah.
Thank you. Dhanaji, one last question.
Okay.
So, my meditations do tend to be peaceful, and even though they give contentment, but somehow I'm not able to draw energy and dynamism during my practice. So, how can I change that, or is it okay to have it?
You need to chant more. Chant more. The preparation is as important as the meditation. You need to energize. I do yoga postures, a few of them every day. I energize every day, of course. And maybe play a chant, read something. I mean, don't just go sort of just hope something happens. It's not going to happen. You have to put energy. You have to be magnetic to meditate magnetically. You have to be energetic to meditate energetically. You have to be dynamic to meditate dynamically. You have to be it. You can't hope, help me, be dynamic. It's not going to happen. So put out the energies. Swamiji said to feel joy, you have to meditate with joy. So be less passive, more dynamic yourself in everything. You have to do something, do it well. You have to go somewhere, go with energy. You have to see somebody, put out energy. You know, instead of it's coming to you, something's going to happen with me. It's not going to happen. Whatever you put out, you get back. And it's the same for meditation. If you put energy into it, boy, you get a lot. And if not, that you don't get it. Make sense? Okay. God bless you all. Have a great day. Bye-bye.